It isn't very often that something goes majorly wrong with a product, to the point that there's huge recalls and it's getting pulled off of the shelves everywhere. This is more unreasonable to happen for online products. They're usually tried and tested before ever going to market. The Day Before is a game that was teased and talked about for the last couple of years. A vast zombie apocalypse in the form of an MMO, something that hasn't really been done before. We have games like 7 Days to Die and DayZ, but this was supposed to be something new. An MMO so you could survive alone or with your friends in a world that you basically helped to form. Now, I'm not sure about everybody else, but if you remember the movie with Will Smith in it, I Am Legend, I always kind of thought it was going to be like that, but in a game. Well, here's the thing. The game was supposed to launch back in March of this year. It got postponed all the way up until December, where it finally launched on PC in early access. As of right now recording this, it's the 11th of December. The game has been out for a mere 4 days, and the unthinkable has already happened. So let's run for a little speech on what's happened already. The game launched on the 7th of December. It was the most wanted game. Quite literally. It was the most wishlisted game across the entirety of Steam, so it was clear that they had some form of audience, despite the fact that the dev team hadn't really done much up until that point. Right now, the only game that they've released recently with any form of merit was Prop Hunt, which wasn't all that good in all honesty. Anyway, the game has launched and people have flocked over to buy it. Early access game, still charging way over the usual price for this kind of game. In the UK, it was £34-ish and it was averaging around $40. People then started playing it. That is usually what you would do when you buy a new game, but my god, they review bombed this game to the very depths of hell. I mean, they really, really hated it. 17% of the reviews for this game were positive. That was it. The rest are all negative. But what was the main complaint that they had about the game? Well, it wasn't the game that was advertised in the slightest. Open world zombie apocalypse MMO. But they released an extraction shooter. The Division, but with zombies. So not only was it completely wrong genre of game, but it was also a buggy mess that was barely playable. People said they had simple issues in the game, things that shouldn't really be a problem, like just changing the resolution of their gameplay led to the game just breaking and crashing. It's a looter shooter where loot isn't even that great. Sure, you can pick up a few bits and bobs, but that's only really when the game allows you to. You can kill things and they'll just disappear. The game was described as just being lifeless. In a game that was originally supposed to be a large-scale MMO, being lifeless is the last thing that you thought it could possibly be. But you know the cherry on top, the thing that makes this even worse. All of the prior marketing material started getting ripped off of the internet. Everything that was showcasing what the game was supposed to actually be before launch, just disappearing into thin air, whilst this new game that no one wanted and no one asked for just sits there on the shelf. Moving forward to now, 4 days later. The game has been shut down. It's been pulled from Steam so you can't even buy it anymore. The company that created the game, Fntastic, have released a statement on X saying that they're closing their doors. After a short 8 years of being a development team, they are officially out of business. They said, "Today we announce the closure of Fntastic Studio. Unfortunately, the Day Before has failed financially and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners." Feel free to pause here and look at the tweet. They then go on to apologise, saying that they've basically tried really hard to get this game out and that due to financial restraints, they just can't carry on. They're going to be keeping the servers online for the time being, but they have no idea what the future for these games are going to be. They also go on to apologise about not being able to meet expectations with their first major game, and talk about how challenging it is to actually develop games. But one of the best things to come from this? DayZ devs released a meme statement on Twitter, and I'll show it on the screen now just for your enjoyment. It just reminds me of the No Man's Sky issues on launch. But then there's one major difference here. No Man's Sky is a brilliant game, showing a redemption greater than almost any game that has ever been released. Fntastic have just quit and ran away, taking everybody's money for a broken game and then dipping before they even so much as sent out a simple patch. There's a lot of people talking about how this game is a scam. The studio itself is a scam. And in all honesty, there's nothing I can say to disagree with them. After 4 days of release, the studio is closing and not offering refunds. Some games take a while to get popular, but cutting it off at the knees isn't going to allow for this. Flappy Bird came out in 2013, and it wasn't until the following year that game became popular. It took almost 6 months of being completely unknown, and then it became one of the most known games of all time. All in all, this is the day everyone got scammed by a company not many people had even heard of. I was debating buying this game with one of my friends, but we decided to wait until Christmas was out of the way, and I'm very, very glad that we came to this decision. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've liked it, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Take it easy.